Let's go. Yo, people, we back again. I don't know why I'm doing gun fingers. Scrap that. Yo, people, we're back again for another week, another episode. Football Heritage with me, your boy Josh, Dan, and Ore. We got a couple guys coming through later. Watch out for that. But you man know the usuals. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You share with your people. But a lot's going on this weekend, innit? So let's head straight into it. And you know what? We're going to talk about Liverpool Man City. And I have an apology to make. Because I disrespected this guy's technical ability. I said he wasn't a very good footballer, but Mohamed Salah, you proved me wrong. So I'm sorry, and big up him because that's an insane goal. That's goal of the season worthy, man. That was insane, bro. But you know that game, I think it was a game of two halves. If we were to go through it, Man City, I think, dominated the first half. I think that was because Liverpool, you know, Man City are obviously probably technically the best team in the league, innit? So, but Liverpool are very good. But you saw Liverpool didn't really maybe 25th, 20th minute, Liverpool started to push back, you know, they were giving a lot of turnovers away, and you saw Man City begin to build up pressure. And Foden was impressive. Maybe because Milner's old, but Foden was impressive. We're going to get into that as well later on, but obviously second half, Liverpool come back into it. Individual brilliance from Salah really got them back into the game. If I'm looking at it in total, it's probably a fair result, a draw. But I mean, that's why those two are the two best teams in the league the last couple of years. You know, it was a game of high quality goals. Alisson made some good saves as well. But yeah, we've seen Edison's passing. It was quality all around, didn't it? But yeah, it was a fantastic game. But yeah, let me head off over to Dan. What was your thoughts on the game, and what did we learn from watching that game? What would you say?
Like you said, yeah, very, very high quality from both sides. But I think what we learned is that Mo Salah is up there with the greatest Premier League players of all time. He's really that guy. And I think this game definitely confirmed what I think some people didn't know already, which was Liverpool are still that team. Like, I know going into the season, there was a couple people that didn't think that they'd be on the same level as Chelsea and City and kind of predicted them to come third or fourth, but we've got them guys that are clinical, and even at the back as well, they've still got world-class players in near enough every position. I think they were unlucky, obviously, with Fabinho's chance. I think Rodri made a very, very good block. But I think the other two big chances they got, they were clinical. Mane's chance and Salah, that's just a worldie of a goal. I don't think you'll see a goal as good as that for a long while. That was a really, really good goal. So I was very, very impressed with Liverpool. But City, although City looks good, certain players City look good, I feel like they would be disappointed with that result because I feel they could have got a win. I think especially with Milner, they should have really exploited him more. I know we'll probably come onto it, and I do actually think he should have been sent off. But I feel like especially in the first half, Foden was really cooking Milner. And I think they really should have exploited that more. Like you said, the first half, they had the ball, but they didn't really, apart from maybe the pass where Edison, went over the top straight to Foden and it was saved. I don't think they had many clear-cut chances. And I think it's because Grealish in the false nine didn't work. I think he kind of had a bit of a poor game. So I don't know how he's going to fit with the others. And I know you mentioned it in the group chat. There's an argument to be said that Foden right now is better than Grealish, and they've spent 100 million on Grealish, which is a bit interesting. But yeah, I think overall, as much as I said City will be disappointed with the result because they probably could have got more, I think it's a very, very, when you look at it in totality, they've been away to Chelsea and Liverpool, which are their two title rivals, and they've got a win and a draw, which I don't think they'll be too mad about in the grand scheme of things.
You know the maddest thing is, and what you just said is mad, is that they play 3 away games at one of the 3 best teams in the world, at PSG, Liverpool, and Chelsea. Bro, and you could say I wouldn't say they outplayed all 3, but they were probably, you could argue, the best side in all 3, which, bro, shows you how crazy.
I think with City, certain players were really good. I think I think João Cancelo was incredible. I think Bernardo was very good. I think Rodri, as much as I criticize him, was very good. But there was other players like Grealish, who I think he kind of struggled. So we'll see how they adapt. But individual performances were really, really strong.
We'll obviously we'll get into some of the questions that we had in the game, but you see with Cancelo, technically the guy is incredible. Defensively, he stinks, bro. If we're being real, he's not a very good defender. All right, I want to get your thoughts on the game. Like, what did you gather watching it, and did that reconfirm that these 2 are probably the 2 that will fight out for the title?
Yeah, the first half was City completely dominated it. But I think Klopp spoke after the game, like what he really addressed during the halftime. And I think in his interview, he spoke much about like how City were like allowed to play through, you know, the center a lot, and how his midfield just had to like, you know, be more physical per se, and just kind of, you know, force them, you know, into like completely the wide areas, so that they can just be like more isolated and stuff, which like really worked well in the second half. I think in the first half they were always just trying to do a long ball. They couldn't keep possession. It was really horrible. In fact, like they were really lucky to go into halftime still 0-0, because like City will kind of have themselves to blame for not, you know, scoring a couple goals in that first half when they could, and you know, letting Liverpool, because after Liverpool came out that second half, they were a completely different team. And from when they scored the first goal, you always just knew that Liverpool weren't losing that game no matter what. First goal was really good. Salah, yeah, you know, everyone already knows that I talk a lot about Salah. Just a very brilliant player. The goal, the second one, that was quite, you know, spectacular. All round, I feel like City also during the summer, they had a very poor squad planning. So I think I spoke a lot about it and about the Grealish signing. And I said Grealish can play as a left winger. And in some certain games, he's like, you know, an attacking midfielder per se. And City had, in my opinion, a better left winger in Sterling. And they also had Foden, who could also play on the left. Although I wouldn't really have said Foden was better, you know, before the start of the season. But, you know, right now, I probably say he is. So right now, in my opinion, they have 2 better left wingers, and they have one of the best attacking midfielders in the world. Even though I don't like to call De Bruyne a midfielder per se, but yeah, like he plays that role more or less like on paper. So they have those 2 positions, and they went to get Grealish, who for £100 million, breaking, you know, all sorts of records for a position where they don't desperately need, where they have players to occupy, where they have backup players to occupy. You would say that, you know, was in desire, which is a striker or centre forward, like more or less. And I just think that was just quite poor squad planning, especially how much they spent on Grealish. And I know, like, obviously, like football is advancing, and obviously I know there are different types of wingers, there are different types of, but especially in modern football, it's really hard for a winger to survive in the league without having pace. And I know obviously people are going to say this isn't FIFA, it isn't, you know, say a video game, but if you're playing on the wide areas in a league like the Premier League, you would get found out if if like you can't keep up with the pace of the game. You can so Grealish is you can take on his, you know, players more or less. But when it just comes to like that driving factor, you can't compare to like certain other. You can't compare. It's not close to Mane. It's not close to Salah. It's not even close to Rashford. You know, it's not. Sorry.
It doesn't have that 5-yard burst of pace.
That burst, like, you know, someone like Mbappe. I mean, Mbappe is probably like, you know, probably the best player at that.
He's a freak.
You know, just one touch and you're not getting to Mbappe. So, as a winger, you need that. You need that ability to be able to, you know, have that 5-yard burst. And he just doesn't have that. And obviously, like, he's more of like a creative winger, which everybody knows per se. But I mean, even at that, it's becoming very predictable because like he's a right-footed player playing on the left. So it's just, I see defenders finding it so easy against him. When he literally gets the ball on the left, they're already putting out their back foot to just stop him from cutting in. And once he can't cut in, he's just a bit limited. He tries to go wide. He comes back again. He goes. So it's just, I don't know. It's not. I think I rated Grealish at a point, although I did think that last summer. But obviously, I think he's still a good footballer. But I don't know why City spent 100M on him, and I don't know. I don't know if City was exactly the right club for him to go to, but let's just see how all that pans out. Then in terms of Liverpool and City, in my opinion, like these both clubs at their peak, I call them the best Premier League teams of all time, just because of the level of football that they both reach and how they push themselves. We saw both of them competing at 100 points, 99, like those are ridiculous numbers to push against. And they've been consistent in terms of, getting high points in the Premier League. So these two sides are very ridiculous. And I just think they're just a bit cut off from the rest. So I'll put Liverpool and City at the top two. Then I'll say Chelsea is just, below them. And obviously I'm not really a fan of Thomas Tuchel's like tactics so far, like even from last season. I know that his tactics are defensive, which like a lot of people say, like that's not my criticism of it. I just feel like his tactics are not very like, they don't leave a lot of room for a lot of, I want to say creativity because that seems like I'm saying it's defensive, but like it's very rigid per se. Like it seems like a very strict format where like players like can't be allowed to do certain things, and it's just like you have to follow this A to B, A to like some certain, like it's a rule, and I just feel like that's just too rigid. Obviously Liverpool and City, they do kind of like have a little bit of leeway for players, and the system to a bit flow and creativity and all sorts of things like that. But yeah, that's why I'll put Chelsea just below. And then I'll be real, I think every other team compared to Man City and Liverpool in the league are not on their level at all. And it's so funny how I saw a lot of people like especially United fans, I mean, not to call them out, but United fans were like, oh, they're just realizing yesterday that, oh, we're so far off Liverpool and City. And I'm like, is it really today that, you're realizing you're really that far off City and Liverpool? I mean, for the past 5 years, City and Liverpool have just been absolutely ridiculous. And last season, United finished 5 points ahead of Liverpool. And if you think about what Liverpool went through last season, that's absolutely ridiculous. So I personally tip Liverpool to win the league, so I guess we'll see how that goes for them. But yeah, I expect it to just be a Liverpool City race with Chelsea just hanging about there, and other teams just a bit not distance, but just a bit cut off from that top team. But yeah, good game. Prime Barclays, as people like to say, just entertaining football and good to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple things that we're gonna go over. So before we get into the Mo Salah, because you started talking about Grealish, and I have a few thoughts when I watch him. It's just that, as you were saying, he's very slow on the ball. And when you're that sort of player where you don't have the burst of pace to drive past players, you see Bernardo, when he gets the ball, sometimes quick, boom. And Bernardo has the burst as well. He can get past players. But it's like, you have to be a bit more, you have to be one step ahead. The ball comes, quick flick, open the space, run into it. I don't know. I don't like it when he gets the ball, he slows it down. Because people used to compare him to Hazard a lot. But the one thing, Hazard could do that, but Hazard had the burst where 0 to 100, he's gone. Grealish, you don't have that. You got to be a bit more smart. What you have to do is create the space that you can burst to, not just stand still and try and go past players. We saw with Hakimi dealt with him easily, and Hakimi's not even that good defensively. So with Grealish, and I brought up Foden because Foden has the 5-yard burst of pace. He's more dynamic and he makes those runs in behind. If Grealish made those runs in behind where he's looking not always just to come to the feet, where he's looking to get in behind, then maybe we could have a different discussion. But I look at it with him and Foden. To me, Foden's just more dynamic. Foden can do the things Grealish can do. He can do it even tight spaces, because Foden in tight spaces is stupid at times, what I've seen this guy do. It's just like, Grealish has just signed, he's going to Pep's system, which I don't like for flair players. I feel like it does systemize you in a sense where you are quite rigid. Sometimes Pep wants his wingers to stay just really wide in. And I mean, if you don't have the 1v1 ability like a Grealish, in my opinion, he does have 1v1 ability, but not to the level of a Sane. I don't think it really suits you. I don't think you can really express yourself. He's a high volume player, innit? He likes to get the ball a lot, likes a lot of touches. And in a Pep system, you're going to have a lot of touches, but I don't know if it's the touches that he wants, because sometimes he might want to make a risky pass, but, Pep likes to play a safer possession game. So,
one thing about Pep is that I noticed that he likes to switch things up every season, more or less. So, and obviously he's used to wingers that are more especially in the Prem, he's had Sterling, Sané, Mahrez, players who have the burst, who could dribble, who could go wide, running behind, stuff like that. And I think, he was just kind of trying to, probably go to the type of winger who's more creative, midfielder-ish kind of winger, which is Grealish. So maybe it would work out eventually, but right now it's not looking like the system is really fitting Grealish. He just seems too predictable to me. Just seems very easy to defend against, which that shouldn't be said against I mean, probably almost any winger in the league is probably hard to defend against. Even players say Maximin, Rafinha, because they have their burst, and even players who are not as pacey and stuff like that. Don't know, it really pops to head, but a lot of them knew how to create the space and have the ability to still get past players and stuff like that. But I've just not really seen that with Grealish so far. But yeah, let's just see how the season pans out for him. But
that's the perfect way to say it. Yo, Denz, what are you telling me, man? What was your thoughts on the Liverpool City game? What did you learn from it?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch it.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
I heard it was a very good game, but I did not watch it. I was not able to watch it.
Same man. Let's move on to the next question. We're discussing this in the GC. Is Salah the best player in the world? He probably is.
Wait. This is a mad switch up from you, man. It's a crazy switch up from you.
To be honest, no. I just didn't think he was a great overall footballer, innit? But I still rate him.
But now you're saying he's the best player in the world.
Based on this season.
Interesting. Very interesting. A crazy ton of romance.
He deserves it, innit? You gotta give him a player. You gotta give him his credit, innit? The ones there. He's better than what's his name, Tap now though. But Daniel, what are you saying? Is Salah the best player in the world?
If we're talking current form, then he might well be. But do you know what? I think what's more important is his all-time status. Because you know what? Last season, we done an all-time Premier 11. And I think Ori was the only person that put Salah in that all-time Premier 11. And at the time, we were on to him for that. We were saying, nah, no way. I have to apologize because I think as of right now, there's no question that Salah and Ronaldo are the two wide men in an all-time Premier 11. And in the world, I know in the GC we're comparing him to Neymar, and Neymar's not started the year too well. So obviously not doubting his ability, because on his day he's one of the greatest footballers ever. But as of right now, current form, we have to say that Salah probably is.
Top three is probably no particular order. Salah, Benzema, and probably Lewandowski. If we're saying top three.
Current form?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. Haaland has also looked really good.
See, I don't want to keep always doing it to just attacking players, but it's just the easiest one to come to head.
But this season,
got no form, right?
I haven't really seen any defensive players who have significantly stood out for me this season.
I agree.
Some players in Serie A have been good, but not standout. Tomori has been good, really good, but I mean, it doesn't really stand out because Champions League he hasn't really no one has really, no defender really, and no midfielder I can really think of has had I think just because obviously the start of the season, so attackers always get that benefit just because like they can get into goals early and stuff like that. But yeah, Salah is looking really scary this season. It's looking 17, 18 season, because his stats at this point were not this good, which is, something to really look out for. Would be quite crazy if he actually does another 30 goals in a Prem season again. I think that would probably put him definitely on second, in my opinion, if there was any arguments. But I mean, right now people would say like, Henry and Ronaldo are top two, but yeah, if he's getting 30 this season, then yeah, I don't think there should be an argument for the second. But in my opinion, he's second already. But in terms of right now in the world, I'll put him as first, Benzema as second. I don't really have a third per se, but yeah, we're going to put one probably lower than someone like that. But Salah and Benzema started the season like ridiculously good. Yeah, and the Neymar one, Neymar's just not been. He's been out of form for like a really long time. And I mean, how old is Neymar now? Neymar's like 29. 99?
So yeah, let me double check that.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, it's not like
anyway.
it's not like he's out of it's not like he's going to never come back.
Yeah,
he'll obviously come back and like start like, but just right now he's just not been at it. And I think it gets to a point where like output always passes natural ability. And I think that's what really happened with a lot of players in the career. And that's like Ronaldo as well. That's why Ronaldo is rated like significantly high. Like it goes to a point where your output is so ridiculous that like it doesn't matter what else you're doing. I mean, you could as well just be walking on the field, but if you're hitting 50 goals every season, then or 40 goals every season, then I mean, you might as well just do anything you want per se, and you will still be rated. But Neymar has like been struggling with output like recently. I mean, no doubt that his ability, he's just behind Messi, but we'll see how he goes. Hopefully, he picks up form because obviously I love Neymar to bits, but yeah, right now he's just not looking. He's not looking on top of his game. But yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Denz? What are you saying?
Yeah, it's not a bad shot. I'd say at the moment, Salah probably is the best player in the world. I wouldn't argue with that. I feel like he's been disrespected a lot, not just in general. I feel like he even had a good season last season, but because of Liverpool didn't do as well as they normally do, even though they finished third, they still had a good season in my opinion anyway. But he had a very good season last season as well, but I think it was just the effect of people are just used to Salah being amazing. And now because he's doing amazing, he's just maintained the level, but he's taken it up a notch this season.
Yeah.
So I'd say that Mo Salah probably is the best at the moment. He's a phenomenal player. I have a lot of respect for him, even though he plays for the rivals. But yeah.
And then did anyone see his Instagram caption? That was something. I think he was
what was the caption?
Let me see if I can just get the exact. Oh, I mean, Instagram is down now, but yeah, I think he has the same one for Twitter. So let's just check that. I always like to see players like actually go out and say they're gunning for the title and stuff like that. It's always just
confidence.
I think
from the grind.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Where's again? Okay, yeah. Let's just read that. Yeah, he said we really wanted to win this one, but we're still in the game. We're going for the title, and we have what it takes. So, like I know a lot of players always, when you ask them about title or they always try and avoid the question, let's just see how the season goes out, we're not, but I like that mentality. He wants to go for the title. Yeah, so that's just brilliant. And let's see how it goes for them. What's so funny is that the first season he came for Liverpool, he had 32 goals, and then like he slightly dropped in, that peak, and his version of dropping was still getting 20 goals every season, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, this season I can't lie, it's really looking like another 30 goal season because he's on 6 now already, and he looks more or less set to score in every game he plays in. Like that's just how he's looking at the moment. But I mean, there's AFCON in between of that, so I think he's missing one or two games. But let's just see how that goes for him.
Yeah, 100%, man. Salah's doing his thing, man. He's doing his thing.
It could be a Ballon d'Or season. Early to say, but I mean, if Egypt look good in AFCON as well, and Liverpool have a good year, it could be a Ballon d'Or season. But
realistically, who looks more likely than Salah at the moment? No one.
It depends Champions League, because if
You might
Bayern
say-
win the
it
Champions
It
League,
more or less just depends on the Champions League, more or less.
yeah.
Yeah.
You meant to say Ballon d'Or this year or next year?
The next will be the next one. It won't be this year. This one, I don't even know.
This one, it will be a Messi. And even though I'm a Messi fan, I feel
It should be Lemar.
like it could be someone else still, but like I don't know who else I'd give it to, more or less. It could be Lewa, but just hasn't.
For the
just
year
hasn't
in which they
happened.
didn't give it to him, I think they should just give it to Lemar, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think Leo had a great year.
Yeah, that year, I don't know why they cancelled the Ballon d'Or. Even though like I'm not like a huge fan of Lewa, but you know, it's quite sad to see that, you know, he had such a good year and he didn't get the Ballon d'Or. But yeah, this year, yeah, I mean, I guess it would have to be Messi, more or less. I don't know who else I can think of. I mean, there are Jorginho shouts, but I don't think.
Wait, did Messi?
Out of here, man.
Oh yeah, he won the Copa America.
He won the Copa America and he won the Copa del Rey, and he had like good. I think he won the Golden Boot in La Liga as well. They won the Golden Boot in Copa America, and then yeah, I feel like they just gave it
because of Copa America. I think they'll give it to
more or
him.
less just because of Copa America. Yeah,
Pretty much. No one talks about Benzema though, because Benzema went crazy last season as well.
Oh, you know what? Benzema was just like a because if Madrid won the league and the Champions League, you would say it would be Benzema in it, because like, and they were just like a point short in the league, and they went out semi-finals in Champions League, so just so close, but yet so far. But yeah, Benzema has looked like, you know, a very, very, very good. He's looked insane last season and so far this season, but yeah, still a long way to go. But I'm sure a lot of players will be eyeing up. Ballon d'Or. And I mean, we are going to see Messi here form just because it always happens. I feel like Messi always kind of gives everybody a head start more or less every season. And then at the end of the season, you just see him on 40 goals and you're like, oh, where did that come from? But yeah, it will be surprising though if he doesn't like have a good season in PSG. That would just be a bit like, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, they lost last weekend to Rene, which was, but yeah, I didn't watch that game, so I can't really know how Messi. But I do know that I heard that Neymar missed some chances. I heard Mbappe to miss some. I heard Messi also missed some chances. So I don't know. I feel Pochettino is just. We'll see how that. I think we'll talk about PSG later. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you know, I was saying in the GC, man, I kind of can't wait till that man retire, because I don't know, man. Sometimes it gets a bit annoying when every time they do something, they just bring them up.
Who?
Messi, Ronaldo.
Oh yeah.
Kind of can't wait till they retire. Obviously, big them up.
Yeah, I also can't wait. I can't just because like I feel everybody be so grateful after they do, and everybody just start being like, and there'll be so many posts like, oh, thank you, Ronaldo. You'll see Messi fans saying like, thank you, Ronaldo, and stuff like that. And because like when they retire, I just feel like it will just be like the proper end of an era, and like football just looks so like, but right now it's still people are still going at their toes, Messi, Ronaldo. I'm just like, we've been at this since 2000 and what, like let's just rest. Let's just rest.
For real, man. Neither have a goal in the World Cup knockout, bro, and they're apparently the goats. But yeah,
whatever.
no tax in that. But
most international goals, but whatever. Cool.
Against Lithuania.
Andorra, but I mean,
Faroe Island tax.
A Euro.
Bus drivers and
Literally has a Euro.
Yeah,
literally has a European Cup. But okay.
Gibraltar.
Apparently doesn't do anything in international formats, but has a European Cup. Okay.
No one's coaching. No one's coaching during that Euros.
Yeah, and they won. There you go. Ronaldo effect.
I should take the reins from Oli.
Probably be a better manager. In fact, that's a good segue. That's a good segue.
Next topic, Josh.
I have a hot take.
What's your hot take?
Yeah, go with your hot take.
I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. I think I might be Oli out, you know. I might be Oli out.
Good man.
I might be Oli out. Because
everyone.
the stuff that I was seeing.
Everyone's turning. Literally all my Ole in like friends that I had, they all turned, like literally everyone. And that's what I'm saying, that like I know Ole didn't want Ronaldo because him getting Ronaldo,
the expectations
had put him on this. So like I know, like, because Ronaldo was set to go City, but just because they couldn't just sit back and let Ronaldo go to City, so they had to hijack Ronaldo. Your team is just like, I mean, it's just. I mean, even someone like it's just like
You have to deliver.
it's just like
You have
Messi to
deliver.
PSG. Like even though Poch had Mbappe and Neymar, like I mean the expectations were still high, but having Messi with that's like if you're not winning it, then you're just being on a crazy pedestal. So I feel like that's why everybody's like just switching up because like you can't have Ronaldo and just like But question, Denzel, who would you want if who would you want like to replace him?
I want Zidane.
Zidane.
Good
That is
choice.
a good
It's
shout.
I want Zidane because I don't want Conte.
He's worked with Ronaldo as well. So
he's proven. He's a winner.
Yeah.
I feel like we need a winner. We have a team that is built to win trophies, and Ole is. It saddens me to say it because I know I've backed Ole for a long time, but it's just when you look at it, sometimes the attitude is more. It's like with the team that you have, you shouldn't be on the amount of points that you're on. Like I can't remember how many points you're on. I'm gonna check now.
You're on 12 or 13?
We're on 12
points. 14, my bad. 14.
We're on. Okay.
Actually, you're 2 points.
So we're on
we have
from the top.
But I think you've been in poor formation.
Now let me just
have
land.
like
Let me land.
Go on.
Okay. So yeah, we're on 14 points. City are on 14 points. Liverpool 15, Chelsea 16. Chelsea have had a lot of tough games to play. Liverpool have had a lot of tough games to play. City have had tough games to play. We have not had one big game per se, and we're on less points than them. We're level 1 points with Brighton. So it's a thing where with the fixtures that we've been given, we shouldn't be dropping the amount of points that we're dropping because of the rest of the competition are playing against each other. We haven't played against the competition yet, and they're on the same amount of points or more points than us. So it's just a thing where with the squad that you have, you should be winning. I don't mean to like put pressure on them, but realistically, you should be getting maximum points out of the games that we've played. Realistically, you should be getting maximum points with the team that you have. And
I don't even think it's just that though. Like even the way you play, like I know you don't watch Man City versus Liverpool, but
I heard that it was end to end. That was
even just the way, even Chelsea, just like look at the way they're coached and set up, and then look at Man United, and like you can kind of see that there's kind of a big gap in coaching, like talent and ability. Like Man United have that, but the coaching and the system, you don't really get that from Ole.
Well, how does my question is how does the top how does the manager come into a squad and you're trying to rebuild the squad or you're just trying to take over the squad and you don't get a midfielder that you want to play in the squad, like a central midfielder, someone who more or less I've seen there's literally no, like when Klopp came in, Klopp got like about 3 or 4, or I mean he got Genie, he got Keita, he got Fabinho. I think that about that. I mean, he already had Henderson there and stuff like that. Pep got a lot of central midfielders as well. Who else? I mean, Tuchel hasn't really. I mean,
Tuchel's got Kante, bro. That one is.
Yeah, got. I mean, once you have Kante,
even Tuchel still brought.
He has Jorginho. He has Kante, Jorginho. So Kovacic. He has good players.
Yeah. So I'm just even saying. I mean, Arteta came in. He got Partey. Like, I just feel like a lot of like. You need a midfielder to kind of kickstart your rebuild more or less, because I feel like midfield is definitely the most important position the most important area of, because once you lose your midfield battle, you've more or less like lost the game per se.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he does sign a central midfielder, which is Van de Beek, but he doesn't fit his system. He doesn't want to use him, and you spend 14 mil on him when you could have gotten a midfielder that they actually wanted for either cheaper or the same price that fits your system and would definitely, because anyone is better than Fred at the moment now. I'm not even going to like literally anyone.
Yeah, he is one of the worst.
And because obviously, like I'm not I didn't watch the full Everton game, so I really don't know how.
Can I just mention Fred was probably the reason why we lost, because of Damari Gray absolutely blitzed him.
I saw that. Yeah, when he blew him up and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't get, and I do feel maybe like Ole was actually trying to get a midfielder, maybe, and the Ronaldo thing came in, but I don't know.
That's one of the reasons why I'm Ole out. Let me explain.
Yeah.
He said, this was before the Ronaldo signing. He said, I'm satisfied with the window that we've had and we have a squad to challenge. That was his words, not mine. He said that he was satisfied with the squad that he had. Yeah, and that was without getting a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that you're satisfied with the squad that you have and you haven't gone to sign a DM, then I can't say, oh, Ollie wanted a DM, because if you've come out and said to the press that you're satisfied with the squad that you have, so you haven't said, oh, I want a DM or anything like that. You've literally told us that, yeah, you're fine with what you have. So I can't keep on making excuses for you when you've come out and with chest and said that you don't want a DM or you don't need a DM and you're satisfied with that one. When going into the window, we knew that a centre back and a DM were our two main priorities, and we solved the centre back issue, and we can already see improvements with the defense with Varane inside. But it's just when you don't have a DM there, it's a mess.
But with Ollie, and I know you're saying like he's come out and said that, but I think that's just who he is really, because his main benefit for the board and the players is that he's a company man. He's going to toe the line and not do anything controversial against Man United or against the players, or he's just going to keep harmony, raise the morale.
But you can be a company man and you can have harmony and you can still be a good coach and you can still implement the system.
That's what I'm saying. That's his main benefit. But that only goes so far at the top level. And as I know Ori mentioned it, with Ronaldo coming in, Ollie was comfortable enough to sit in fourth pretty much every year and just collect that Champions League money and say, yeah, next year. But with Ronaldo coming in, them expectations have shot right up to winning the title. And as much as Man United or Ollie in fans anyway don't want to believe it, he can't compete with Klopp and Tuchel and Pep. They're just as coaches, they're just elite coaches.
See, that's the thing.
Coaches.
That's the thing.
It's an unfortunate time for him to be a manager.
Yeah.
No, the thing with Ollie, I don't agree. As I've always said, I don't agree that he's tactically inept. I think he's a good manager tactically.
Yeah, I've always said that as well.
No, he's not. He's definitely not incompetent. Like he's
not
good
bad,
enough.
but he's not good enough. No, okay,
he's not elite.
Exactly. And that's my issue. And with the bunch of players that you have, you cannot be putting in performances like that, and you cannot be like, you can't do that.
And you guys are just inconsistent, really. Like that's my main issue with Man United. Like you don't know which Man United is going to turn up every week. Are you guys going to score 4, or are you going to make a massive a real tough go of it and win 1-0 or draw? Or for the talent you've got, you need to look more dangerous, really, on a more consistent basis.
Also, I just feel like Ole is not I've always said, it's not innovative. Like he can put the side out and they can play good football. I mean, almost anyone can do that. Almost any manager can do that. You can put the side out, you can play good football, you can get results. But there will be some games where it's not just going to be that straightforward. You would need to think. You will need to be innovative. This team is playing from the wide areas. How can I close the wide areas down? How can I force them to this? How can I? So I just feel like he doesn't do that enough. He doesn't come up with certain ideas for different and certain games. I feel like he just kind of thinks that if he plays the same way throughout the season, it would work out. But that's not how the Premier League is. You need to kind of adapt to certain fixtures and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always said that Ole is a good coach. I also think he's good tactically, but I just don't think that he has what it takes to actually cross the line, like I've always said. And till now, he still hasn't shown that he has what it takes. So it's probably in United's best interest to probably just let him go. I do feel Zidane would probably do a better job. But yeah, I think a lot of fans are now Ole out, and yeah, there will be pressure on him. But like I said, like Dan said, he has everyone in his pocket more or less. I don't see him going unless it's very, very bad. You probably don't. Maybe you don't. You don't.
Because he wins enough useless games to keep.
You don't finish in top 4 or something like that. I think even Arsenal fans also recognize that that's something similar with Arteta. Obviously, I like Arteta and stuff. Obviously, the fans who kind of want Arteta out also know that Arteta is it's kind of he kind of has the board or what else in his pocket. They have him. So once a manager is that friendly or close with then it's very unlikely that they leave and stuff like that. Mourinho he didn't have that relationship with the board and stuff like that, so that's why they just got rid of him so quickly. But I feel it will take a lot, a whole lot, for Ole to go. So I guess you guys just have to sit tight and see.
Surely if he doesn't deliver this season,
if you don't make top 4, if you go trophyless, he's gone.
No, not even if we make top 4 and we go trophyless, he should be gone.
I think he will stay. Just because
you cannot have that squad and not
just
win a
because
trophy.
just because City and Liverpool would like be kind of ridiculous in terms of how many points they'll get, then Chelsea would also probably maybe be third or are just about there. And then if United come fourth, it would just seem like they weren't that bad. Like they just like.
But it's still even if they come fourth and win an FA or a Carabao Cup, that's still not good enough for the amount.
Out of the Carabao Cup.
That's definitely not good enough. But to them, they'll just be like, like we could give him another season and stuff like that. But
the board, but the fans
they would. But with I feel like with Ronaldo though, that like everything just kind of changes. I feel like even there would be more pressure on the board. There just be more pressure like all around. And I think it will get to a point where like it would have to take like the main figures in the United media, which is like your people like Ferdinand and stuff
Gary
like
Neville.
that. Gary Neville to turn
and they're friends. They're friends.
They never will, which I don't think they never will. So it's going to be.
But it's another thing. It's about him. It's the dressing room.
With Oli though, it's just weird because one thing that's a big issue with United. Like when we're going back to him tactically, is that United are so poor in the transition where when United they have a turnover in midfield, they get bypassed so easily. Like it's so weird of Oli because like in the game against Villarreal, he did try something new. He tried the 4-3-3 in it, and so I do think he tries to be innovative, and in game he did rectify that issue. He went to a 4-2-3-1. United played better and they won. He's just a weird guy, bruv. Like, I can't say he's a poor manager, and none of us have said that, but I don't know why he's not elite at the same time, because we've seen it in the big games as well. He matches up with Klopp, Pep, and all them, man. But like,
no Klopp. Are
you sure?
When we go head to head with Liverpool, we have a terrible record against Liverpool.
He's good against Pep, though.
He's good against Pep. And Chelsea, the record's decent. But Liverpool, we have a very bad record against.
He has Pep's number for some reason. I feel like he doesn't know how to play against Pep. Also, like, he doesn't have a midfielder to do like what, like, but he also seems like he doesn't want it, because like if you really needed a midfielder that badly, like you would have gotten it. Like he's in his, how many windows has he had now? I'm guessing like 5 or something. Quite a lot of windows, and like you've had opportunity to get a midfielder that you want to like. So I'm just guessing that, I mean, like Denzel said, like he said he has a squad to challenge. I'm guessing he just doesn't see it, and if he doesn't see it, then he's not a good enough coach, because it's clear that United need a midfielder who can do certain things like beat the press, like bypass, other teams' press and stuff like that. Because the midfield, like George said, like in transition, they just look like they always like just like skip the midfield phase. They just like to go from defense to
even in the games that we win.
Straight to the ball,
because even the Newcastle match, St. Maximum on the transition was ripping us.
100%. So I really don't know like what exactly he's trying to do per se. He's tried the 4-3-3 as well. Like I've said, I don't think that would ever work, just because I mean it would work for certain games if they had like a defensive midfielder. And that would just be a couple games, like teams that they don't press too high and stuff like that. But in general, playing Pogba and Bruno in midfield, I'm not a huge fan of that. I really don't see how that. I would say Bruno is not an 8 as well. Like Bruno is a 10, an attacking midfielder, and that's the only position he's going to play. So might as well just play him in his best position. Then I mean, who else? What? I mean, Sancho. Sancho hasn't really started well as well. I think everyone's kind of waiting for Rashford to come back to kind of see how Rashford fits in.
Once Rashford comes back, they'll start trolling him again, bro.
What do you mean?
Like there are a lot of United fans that come for Rashford as well.
Yeah, stupidity, because Rashford's one of our best players.
I don't know why. I love Rashford.
He's definitely one of our best
I would
players.
like Rashford to come back. I would like to just see Ole with all the available players, and let's just see what he do again with that. And maybe if Rashford comes back, they'll slightly play better. But I mean, he could turn things around. I mean, you're 2 points off the top. You're not like, you're not.
But you have to look at the fixtures and what you've had.
I know. I am. Yeah, in context is key. But then, I mean. We'll see how he does against. I mean, when is the first time that you play someone in the Big Six?
I think we've got Liverpool this month.
They've got a horrible streak coming.
Yeah, you have a horrible.
Yeah, we've got Liverpool.
They've got Leicester, Liverpool, Spurs, City, then Watford, Chelsea, Arsenal.
I feel like this
and you know what's going to happen? He's going to weather the storm. He's going to weather the storm. He'll do something. Yeah, and
The same thing happened
everyone's
last year.
back to
I remember
No.
last year he went and beat. I think it was in the Champions League. You were about to get knocked out, or you lost to.
Yeah, we got knocked out. No,
You
we
lost
did
to
get
Istanbul.
knocked out.
And then you beat PSG and Leipzig and a couple of others.
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
yeah.
And then it was Ollie's
No.
back on a-
It was no.
No, you
We
beat
lost-
them first. So
We
you
got
beat them-
knocked. Yeah, we got knocked out of the Champions League, and then we fought, and then we had a terrible run, and we thought from there he was going to get sacked because we're out of Champions League, and had an awful run, and he somehow managed to win. He won most of those games.
Well, I saw a tweet saying that United are kind of stuck in limbo because
Yeah, it's true.
They are.
they'll never
Yeah.
be bad enough for Oli to get sacked, and they'll never be good enough for them to actually like win the league and stuff like that. So they'll always just be in that balance. That's what he'll always just keep them afloat. They'll always be about that top side, but they just would never actually go all the way. And if they do want that, then yeah, they probably would have to consider changing the coach and stuff like that. But this is a very good side, all round. Like if they had any chance to win the league again, you'd say like this group of players, maybe just a few tweaks, maybe 2 more players in the squad or 1 more, and it does actually look like a title winning squad. But yeah, like someone like I would like to see what someone like Zidane would do with this team. Genuinely, like it would actually be fun to see. But for right now, yeah, Ole is just not looking like that guy.
I'm gonna give him till December times. If I don't see an improvement, then obviously at the start I was saying that they should have got Zidane in it, but it's one of them ones where you've given Oli the summer in it, so you might as well just give him the opportunity. But I mean, the performances haven't had an improvement yet. You know, I'm up Ronaldo a lot, but let's see how he affects things longer term in it. Whether he is a hindrance.
He's gonna get his. He's gonna get his regardless. There's been multiple times where, well, not multiple times, but we saw in the Villarreal game, we had a terrible game, and just because Ronaldo's just inevitable, he got us out of trouble. And someone said the only difference between the Europa League final and that Villarreal game in the Champions League was Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So Ole hasn't changed anything. It's just got an elite, world-class player that can get you out of trouble all the time.
Yeah, so that Atalanta, I think you do Atalanta, Liverpool, Spurs, Atalanta, City. That is quite a ridiculous run.
And he'll probably win most of those games.
That is quite
He'll beat Spurs. He'll beat Spurs and City.
Spurs, probably.
Yeah, and then he'll probably get a draw against Liverpool.
Yeah, maybe.
And then we'll act like we're happy, even though now it's become a stupid thing that we go Anfield, we get that annual draw, and it pisses me off. You want to go to Anfield and actually win the game.
The funny thing is that if he loses all those 3 games, he's still not going.
Yeah.
Still not going. That's what's like. I feel like it's going to be very hard for United fans.
The Atalanta game, you think if we lose that game, he won't go?
He won't go regardless. I don't think. I think it has to be
because
bad
if he loses both Atalanta games, then we're not getting through to the knockout stages. If we don't get through to the knockout stages, that's 2 seasons in a row where you failed to qualify for the knockout stages in the Champions League. That's a sackable offense, in my opinion. Personally,
I agree.
It is. Especially
if he doesn't get to the next stage of the Champions League, I think he could see the sack.
The fact they have Ronaldo is unacceptable. You can't.
Yeah, Ronaldo can't be playing in the Europa League. Like, come on now. Allow it. That's ridiculous.
One of them ones is either you get knocked out completely or you go through.
Yeah, because Europa League is just like, yeah.
It's more hindrance than help at this point.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Oli?
I think we've been through Oli.
Yeah. Moving to another manager. Moving swiftly to another manager. I'm gonna let Ori take the floor in this one because this was just a hot take in at the time where he said
it's not even a hot take anymore. It's just
Rodgers.
Yeah,
it's just facts.
But Ori,
you don't think it's facts?
Come on, Rodgers is a very good manager.
Very good.
Maybe not
very good.
He's a good manager. He's a good manager.
Taking the piss, Josh. Rodgers is awful, man. I've always said he's awful, to be fair. Like, the Suarez storage one that season, like that's already enough for you to like just stop being a manager. I can't even lie, like, because a lot of people try and like make excuses and say like, oh, they had a poor defense, which is actually cap because Liverpool were good that season as a team, and a lot of it was down to individual talents. And like Suarez and Sturridge, that's like probably one of the best duos like the Prem has ever seen at the peak. And he still couldn't. And I think he was in the clear, and like he just had to he had to beat Palace, was And he was 3-0 up.
That wasn't his fault, though. Come on.
Nah. 3-0 up against Palace to win the title. And
how many points? They were how many points ahead?
They were 5 points clear.
Yeah,
5 points clear with 2 games left.
Yeah, with 2. There you go.
Nah,
Ridiculous.
He has a bottling spirit in him, and like he can't get it out. And then Leicester, I think a lot of people are Leicester overachieving. Are Leicester going to replace Arsenal and Spurs in the Big Six? They dropped out of top 4 like at the final last few games of the season, like no final day of the season. I think for United, and then
2 seasons in a row.
2 seasons in a row.
Chelsea even lost as well.
Chelsea even lost.
Exactly.
So he literally got handed on a plate, and he was leading against Spurs as well, and bottled it. United that season bottled it. This season has been awful. Has bottled the Europa countless of times. Has lost a game in Europa. Drew the first one. I think they're like 3rd or close to bottom in the group. They haven't had a good season in the league so far. I mean, I don't know. Like, with Rodgers, it's just like, he's just not that guy. Like, there's not much I can say about him. Like, even though Leicester aren't really like expected to be like, winning the league or anything. But from those last 2 seasons with the squad Leicester had, I would say that top 4 was probably expected from them. And he bottled it twice. And right now, I don't know where he's headed at. So I don't know what the target is for Leicester. I mean, he won the FA Cup, which was kind of like, okay, good. But like, I don't really see like what he has to offer to Leicester. Like, I'd rather them go for someone who could like come in and just kind of like push them.
Wait. You're saying they should even sack him?
Yeah, I'll say they just sack him.
Fucking hell, mate.
Wait. If they sack him, who would they get though? That's the thing.
Graham Potter.
Yeah, that's
top
the
gaffer.
You know what? Graham Potter with Leicester could be a title challenger. I can't even lie. Like
Graham Potter is a Leicester, Spurs, or Arsenal job away from being a top manager.
He like if he goes in and Leicester give him a good transfer budget.
Did you say title challenge?
Hey, I don't know about that, but
that's a stretch.
Yeah. But no, we'll talk to him.
I see him being in a title challenge.
Now with Brendan Rodgers though, let's be honest, because I think you guys know I don't really rate Arteta. And right now, Arsenal are said to have a bad start to the season, and we're above Leicester. And I think most people would agree in terms of player for player squad, Leicester probably have a better squad or starting 11 than Arsenal. So like, and with Arsenal and Arteta, obviously Arsenal's a bigger club, so they're going to be in the media. But considering there was so much, as Ore said, in like media, YouTube, social media about Leicester replacing Spurs, Leicester replacing Arsenal. Like when Leicester do badly, there's no accountability for Rodgers or the team. And like we get onto Spurs and call them bottle jobs, yeah. But Leicester are the definition of bottle jobs. They bottled it apart from the FA Cup, they bottled it at every occasion possible. Even a couple of days ago, they were 2-0 up against Palace and they bottled that and they drew 2-2. So like
it will be real. It will be real at the end of the day. Leicester is a small club. No disrespect to them in all. When I say it, but like the media is just never going to give them the same attention that they would, which I've kind of come to terms with. But what I would like is that also when Leicester are doing well, they also don't give them any attention and start saying they're replacing some certain clubs in the top 6. Like, let's just accept that a good team is playing, decently at a point, and let's all just move on. I mean, Brighton are top 4 now. They know, like, are we going to start saying Brighton are going to replace? Like, just makes zero sense to me. But yeah, Potter at Leicester I feel would do a way better job. Okay, maybe I'm stretching it with title, but when you think about it, they have a world-class striker in Vardy who has just recovered some form, even though I thought Vardy was on the way to losing all his form. He's just suddenly picked it up again. They have a world-class striker, which Potter lacked last season, and he still kind of lacks this season. So if you could imagine Potter with someone like Vardy, and then let's say he makes a few additions to his squad, he has the midfielders he needs. Schmeichel is a good goalkeeper, and he just makes a few tweaks. Top 4. I have no doubts about that. They will definitely finish in top 4. Title, maybe I'm stretching it, but like that just shows how good they'll be playing compared to what Rodgers is doing. So yeah, Josh, I think they should sack Rodgers. And
See,
A lot of people
like,
a lot of people would disagree, and that just goes back to Leicester not being like a club that anyone really cares about. Because
Because
if
they have no
Rodgers
standards, innit?
if Rodgers was Arsenal manager, everyone would have been screaming it from
Yeah, that's true.
the day one that Rodgers needs to go. But at the end of the day, Leicester don't have that kind of pressure. Leicester don't have, so Rodgers is more or less like the perfect manager to just stay there and just kind of keep them doing okay. And yeah,
Like even Spurs, but Spurs, people are calling for Nuno to be sacked.
Spurs,
Like,
people are calling for
putting
Nuno
his
to be
head.
sacked already.
Nuno's
So
like 5 points clear of Leicester.
exactly. So it's like it's quite ridiculous. Yeah, it's just about like how the team, pressure and stuff like that. And people will just always look at it differently. If Ole was in Leicester, I mean, he would look like one of the best managers in the world, most likely. But at United, there's different pressure because there's more expectation. So it's just all about, it's all about like the squad standards, expectations, and stuff like that. Like people always rate managers differently and stuff like that. Like I mean, there's ridiculous amounts of pressure on Arteta right now. So I mean, because a club like Arsenal and stuff like that. So you just always have that type of. I mean, if Tuchel didn't even win the Champions League with Chelsea, there would be like some serious pressure on him, and he's first in the league right now. But a lot of people I've seen a lot of people complaining about like his coaching styles and just like how Chelsea are playing in general. So and that just shows you like how like high these clubs like demand from their coaches and stuff like that.
No, but with Rodgers, yeah, let's look at it in totality though. Like from where Leicester were when he came in, I think they were like.
Okay, I give him that. They were poor when he did come in, and he did actually like improve.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's one thing that I've noticed about Rodgers here is his flexibility. Where I'm not going to say Leicester have one definitive way of the way they play. You're not really going to say Leicester are one possession-based team. You're not really going to say they're counter-attacking. They're kind of a mixture of everything. I 100% agree with what you're saying in terms of their expectation and almost their reality. And I do understand what you mean, because people are saying they're the new top six, so you have to hold them to that top six standards. But really and truly, I said it myself, if Leicester came in the top six again this season, then I would hold them to the top six standard. But it's just a thing of, I look at what he's done. He's done his thing. He's done well, and he's a good manager in my opinion. Maybe
terrible is a stretch. I can't lie.
Huh?
Yeah, I'll meet you on the middle ground.
He hasn't been terrible because
I don't think he's a good manager, and I don't
he's
think
decent. He's a decent enough manager.
I'll just say
he's adequate.
adequate. Precisely.
Adequate.
Even adequate.
That is exactly.
No, it's adequate.
He's a competent manager. Like he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't excel.
Yeah, you can say that he's not going to take Leicester to the big places like top four and stuff like that. I think that's perfectly fair, innit? But I look at what he's done overall. I think he's a very good manager. Maybe like you could say Everton level, Leicester.
No, but even Europa League performance though, like even West Ham, like people ripped West Ham when they got David Moyes, but they're actually winning games in the Europa League. And this season
they're the first time in it, so it's like.
Where do you
really go from here? Like Leicester should be like doing decently enough in the Europa League. They should be at least.
Yeah, the Europa League is the worst bit. I can't lie. They've underperformed so much.
You get into the quarters from how people talk so highly of them, but the type of players they have, they should be getting to the quarters. But I mean, I think they crashed out in round of 32.
Slavia Prague and Legia Warsaw.
Nah. It's just not really not that guy. But I mean, at the end of the day, let's be real. No one really cares. Like it's Leicester. Like no one really talks about it. Like no one is going to be raving about how. No one even goes in depth into how Rodgers is shit. No one like actually sees how. Yeah, sorry for my language. But yeah, no one analyzes anything. Like I think Sky Sports are just always so focused on the big six, and they don't really like care more or less about any other team and how they're doing. Unless they're doing well, and that's when everybody starts to say, "Oh, Leicester are doing good. Leicester are
just a beating stick for the big six. They're a weapon to attack the big six, bro."
More or less. That precisely is it. Well, yeah. Guess that's it for Rodgers.
But that's like football media basically for you. They love the fairy tale story, innit? And Leicester, that fairy tale story. So if they're doing like, if they're in a level where you're not expecting them, people are gonna put them to probably a level that they're not. It's just like football fandom nowadays, isn't it? It's just people are put onto pedestals that they're not on, and then when they are judged to that level, you start to see you're not that good, are you really, innit? So
Mm.
you see that a lot of young players, man. Young players have said that they're the next this, the next that. Really and truly, that when it comes to, all right, show me what you can do, them man are shaking, bruv. they're shaking, bruv. The ones there. But yeah, man. Anything else that we need to mention? Is that it? No, low key, yeah. From watching this weekend, yeah, I think Pep sniffs. I think he sniffs, bro. I think he does sniff, bro.
How do we get here?
If you see he's not really normal, is he? He's
Nah,
not,
he's
Yeah,
high
no,
on
it's a
football.
widow. It's a widow.
He's high on football.
But you can't be that successful without being a widow. A little bit. You have to be a little bit of a widow. To be that successful.
I mean, Klopp
You know
also
what I mean?
Klopp also acts a bit strange at times as well.
Klopp's kind of calmed down the last couple of years, though.
Yeah, Klopp.
Yeah, Klopp has chilled out a bit. Yeah. I do like Klopp, even though he manages Liverpool. I do. I like his personality. But yeah, Pep is just a bit of a weirdo. He is a bit of a weirdo.
Wait, I don't think there's any manager in the Prem that like I don't really like their personality. Like I don't really have an opinion on Tuchel for per se, but yeah, I like Pep, I like Klopp, I even like Ole as well. But a lot of fans like hate the way he's always smiling and stuff like that. I find
After on Twitter, everyone was like, "This Ronaldo's walking down the tunnel angry when Ole's smiling, Ole out." Oh, I'm like, okay, like there's bigger problems than Ole smiling. We should actually look at the football. That should be the reason why Ole out, not because he's smiling after a game.
You know, that's one thing we actually need to mention. Is just like, how football fans like to use any little thing.
It's agendas.
Yeah.
It's agendas.
It's a bit annoying, man. It's like Ollie will say, "Oh, I like my sixes to do a lot of running. Oh, he doesn't know football. He's a dumb guy." This and that. It's like, relax, man. Like,
If any manager ever says the phrase, "I want the lads to enjoy themselves," you know exactly what everyone's going to say on Twitter. Just vibes, manager. Just vibes.
I'm telling you, it feels like it's getting to a point where fans actually think they know more than the manager. Like
100%.
Yeah.
Like, man are chatting like, "Yo, do this, do that." Like, relax, bro. Like,
they play one season of Football Manager. They think they're
for real.
Social media, the influence social media has on football is from now and like for the next few years, it's going to become so ridiculous. Like, I see an insane surge, especially in terms of like also Phil comps, so like compilations where like players.
Yeah, that one was nuts.
Because
I can't lie.
Because with the way social media is and the presence, that these footballers, they're seeing certain stuff. Like, you can't see like some people train, like there's no way they wouldn't see it, and it all just comes down to psychological play, and it would affect you. Like, no matter how, I mean, there are obviously players who are kind of above it, stuff like that. Like, I'm sure there's nothing you could do to Ronaldo that could kind of block out. He's already established.
You can't,
there are players who will still have it and stuff.
And
like
insecure
that.
players.
And
Lukaku, bruv, he gets
Lukaku,
rattled all the time.
Lukaku
He gets rattled by. If you just tell him his touch is dead, this guy will be rattled for a week.
He'll give you like an ST, and you saw like I think there was a time like he sent a gif of like him having a good
Like, I remember that.
That's just like he just let it be like I don't know.
It's about management. It's about the agents and the way the players are managed.
Like yeah, you just need to like chill a bit and stuff like that. But I mean, it's always very funny like how social media is going to. I think in the next few years it's going to be very, very ridiculous. Like, I feel like we'll get to a point where footballers will literally just be talking to fans on Twitter a lot and stuff like that.
It's a good thing, but it'll be a bad thing. I think.
No, but I reckon all football's players' media will be run by companies at one point, because like it's just more hassle than it's worth.
True. That is true, to be fair.
No, football fandom is a really interesting place nowadays, isn't it?
It is interesting.
Let's see how it is in the next couple of years. But yeah, man, you guys, I think that's it for us this week. If you like the comment, smash the like button, comment below, and yeah, share with your people. Them ones there. We continue to grow, continue to prosper in. But yeah, people, we out. Peace.